Yo, what's going on? This is Relaxing OG underscore Jackson, and we are back with something a little bit different for you guys today. Me, and Big Cozy, Too Cozy, we are the Highly Advised Podcast without Spence here today, but that is okay because we are here to talk about the new announcements from Marvel about Phase 5. Wow, how are you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself, man?
I'm all right. I'm doing okay. Pretty much what we're doing right now is we are ranking the announcements of these movies pretty much based on how excited we are to watch them. So let's, just get pretty much right to it. I'm just going to tell you my rankings, and then we can talk about the movies individually and then go from there. And you can tell me yours as well. Okay.
All right.
So first for me, we got Echo. Then we got Agatha Harkness, The Marvels, Ironheart, Loki, Thunderbolts, Secret Invasion, Guardians, Daredevil, Captain America, Blade, and then Ant-Man.
So Ant-Man is your most anticipated
at the moment, yes.
Okay. If you're ranking it like that, then I would have to say number one for me, and it might be a little surprising to some people, was a Captain America New World Order. And I'm just going to say this before we move on to my next spot. The reason why I'm saying that, Captain America has had the best trilogy of a solo superhero movie we've seen in the MCU. So I think New World Order should only be good if the first three movies were good. And one could say they progressively got better each movie, even though, in my opinion, The Winter Soldier is still the best Captain America movie out. But that's my number one. My number two would actually be Daredevil. I'm a big fan of the Netflix series, especially season 2 and season 3. So I'm excited to see this new series of Daredevil, especially since the guy that played him on Netflix is playing him for the MCU.
Now this is your my bad, God.
So that's what I'm next excited to see. But what were you saying?
So this is your list from most anticipated to least anticipated.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I should have clarified that. Third place, it's going to be Ant-Man Quantumania. I think Ant-Man is dope. I think the Quantumania thing is going to be great. It's going to show the next big bad villain, which is Kang. So, boom. Fourth, I would say Blade. Big fan of Blade 1. Blade 2, I thought that was good. Obviously, Blade Trinity sucks. So we'll see how the MCU does their thing of Blade. Fifth, I would say Ironheart. I'm excited to see the new Iron Man persona. I think it's pretty dope that it's a young Black lady too. So I think that's even more awesome. Gives more diversity in the MCU. Sixth place, believe it or not, man, I think it's Secret Invasion. And the reason why I'm going to say that is just I think that Secret Invasion is opening up a new concept to others that haven't seen before. Seventh will probably be Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. I like the first two movies, so why not? Eighth would be Loki Season 2. I know some people are going to be like, why is that so low? We can explain that in another video. Ninth is going to be the Thunderbolts. I want to see Marvel's take on the Suicide Squad. I think it should be R-rated if they want to match the Suicide Squad from DC. 10th is probably going to be the Marvels. It is what it is. 11th, I would probably say Echo. I'm going to give it a chance. So that's all I'll say. And my least 12th place, Agatha Covenant Chaos. I do not care to see that show. So not a fan of WandaVision, and seeing her on that show did not make me be like, oh, I'm excited to see her.
I think I really want to see Blade. Like, that's one of my most anticipated movies just because Mahershala Ali is taking Wesley Snipes' role, or I should say, taking up the role in the new movie that Wesley Snipes used to play in the old ones from the '90s.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see his take on the character and how they actually incorporate that in the MCU.
Yeah, I want to see Blade too. I'm excited to see it. The dude, how do you pronounce his first name?
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala. Much respect to him. I think he's a fantastic actor, by the way. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he won 2 Oscars already.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Yeah, he's already in legend status. But him playing Cottonmouth on the Luke Cage show on Netflix, I thought he did a great job of playing Cottonmouth. So when they picked him up for Blade, I'm cool with it. It's probably going to be a bit more action oriented from what we're used to seeing him from, because he's mainly known for roles like what he played in Cottonmouth or the drug dealer in Moonlight, and we could say other movie roles he's done too. But I'm excited to see Blade as well. I have a lot of faith and a lot of expectation in this Captain America movie, because the first Avenger, I was like, this movie's actually pretty good. That's what made me into a Captain America fan from far as like the movies standpoint. Because I was like, oh, this dude is actually all right. He's not cringy like I thought it was going to be, or cheesy or whatever like that, or boring. But he was cool. And then Winter Soldier, I still think that's the best movie in the MCU. That thing was, it wasn't too much espionage, but it was definitely like a thriller, crime thriller type of deal. Civil War is great. A lot of people always dub that as, hey, this is another Avengers movie. Yeah. Oh, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I liked it. I know a lot of people didn't like it because they want to, be political about shit. But if you remove your views on politics on a fictional superhero show that's not meant to be reflective of the current real world, you'll probably enjoy that show. I know you would enjoy. For people who say WandaVision is actually a great show, I don't. It wasn't better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't care what you say.
I enjoyed the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I also enjoyed WandaVision. I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier was just a little bit more interesting to me. Like WandaVision, while it was cool, they lost me when they just kept on going with the gimmick of the whole, like, we're moving through the decades thing. I thought they carried on with that too long. So, like, for me, I'm excited to see the new Captain America movie because I think the Falcon does a good job, in his role. So I think he's very fitting, and they actually found a way to make a new Captain America that makes sense. So I think it's a interesting direction to go in that we haven't really seen, like, on the big screen yet, or even on TV, as far as his character being like the Captain America character. So that's cool. I'm excited for Secret Invasion just because, like, I think Secret Invasion is going to be the introduction of a lot of concepts as far as like space goes, or maybe like it's an interesting way to show off the Kree and the Skrulls and whatever. And I think they showed off a couple of that throughout like the series on different Marvel things. But to me, that's going to be interesting.
Is there anything else that you're all right? So besides Blade being a day one movie theater visit for you, what else is a day one movie theater visit for you?
Ant-Man has officially became that, because I think that's going to be the real introduction to the multiverse saga. Like, even though we're kind of already there, like, and we've had a lot of stuff kind of thrown onto us, I think that's going to be the real, like, hey, Kang is here.
All right. And Echo, why is Echo your least favorite? Because you didn't really mention why.
I just have no interest at all.
All right. But you did like Hawkeye.
Hawkeye was cool.
Okay. All right. I think so obviously I say Captain America, I want to see in the day one theater. I feel the same about Ant-Man. I feel the same about Blade. I feel like all brothers should go see Blade.
Shouts out to Blade.
Shouts out to Blade. I think the sleeper pick will be the Thunderbolts. I think that's a movie I don't have high expectations for, but I think that might be a movie that could be surprising, kind of like Shang-Chi. I didn't have high expectations for it because I didn't know who the hell he was, and the movie turned out to be really good.
I think that is a good pick for a sleeper pick. I'm gonna go ahead and say also Ironheart might be a sleeper pick because she's a relatively new character as far as Marvel in general. Like she's not really super old, so I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they bring her character to a live action format. Not only that, like what type of stories they're gonna tell with her because Blade, Iron Man, you have decades worth of stories to tell, and it's not the same thing with Ironheart.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think for people who are like superhero fatigue, get over it. I think the MCU is here to stay. Honestly, the MCU kind of birthed a new genre of film, if you ask me. I know some people might roll their eyes and groan at it, but let's be for real. Every year, you're getting at least 5 big superhero films, and then they're all part of the same thing. So instead of calling horror movies, instead of calling superhero movie action movies, you can now give it its own genre, the superhero film.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, these superhero films are pretty cool. Like I like seeing them come out, and now that it seems like they're past their little, I guess, like COVID thing, they're starting to just crank them all out now. So it's going to be a lot of story being told, and they're going to be able to close a lot of loopholes, like different concepts that they're introducing, things like that.
I think what they should really do, though, if I'm going to be really honest, I think they need to work on the pacing throughout the year with all these releases because you can get fatigued by too much of one thing. So I hope that the pacing of the releases of the shows are good. And also I hope that if you're going to get fans really involved in wanting to watch all this, you have to really, 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 really make sure the product you're putting out, either in the theaters or Disney Plus, that is going to be something that people are going to want to be invested in and carry them over to the next one. Because if not, you're going to start to lose some of that fan base. People were already kind of tuning out this last phase. So with the announcements and stuff, it kind of, like you said, it was bringing people back in on the podcast episode with Black Panther. Now people's hopes are up again, but hopefully they don't screw it up. That's what I just hope they don't screw it up.
Well, do you have anything else for the listeners?
I have nothing else for the listeners. They could kick rocks and die for all I care for.
Well, listeners, that's all from me too. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let us know what you think in the comments. You can follow us at Highly Advised Podcast on YouTube, Highly Advised Podcast on Instagram, and Advise Highly on Twitter. We will see you guys next time. You have been highly advised.